Hari ini anak guam saya, Dato' Albert Tay, he's been charged for so-called corruptions under Section 17. As a criminal lawyer and as a former head of MACC, I find this very, very shocking. It's amazing that for the first time you hear a whistleblower is being charged for exposing not a small crime, but exposing a systemic corruption that involves one of the highest officers in Sabah, and he's been giving information after information for almost a year plus. Nothing has happened, and now he is being charged, and together with the so-called receiver. This is mind-boggling. It's never happened in any other parts of this world. What I don't understand is in which situation you would be able to go for corruption if you go and charge the whistleblower or the so-called giver, who in this case, in comparison to those who he has been exposing, who are holding high offices, he's a small fish. Go after the big fish, where you are actually reacting to the small fish. That is not how we fight corruption. This is not the first time a so-called giver of bribe or money is being used as a witness. In the case of Lim Guan Eng, we had a saksi by the name of Zarul, who had given testimony as to who he had given money to. Why wasn't he charged? Because if you were to charge him, then the case will be impractical. So similarly, in the case of Datin Rosmah Mansor, we had a prosecution witness who has not been charged, given the immunity. But why in this case, which involves Albert Tay, there is no such consideration? From day one, you get the Prime Minister announcing that we will not give protection to the whistleblower. How in the world are we going to fight corruption if that is the attitude and that is the policy of the current government? This is wrong, and this is we definitely will fight in court, but this is the message that we are saying to outside, that we will go for the small fish, we will go for those who expose our people. There's no point repeating hundreds of times that you are going to fight corruption, but when in reality, when someone like Albert courageously had come out, put his face, put his neck out to expose the wrongdoing, you went and pounced him. Not only just went and asked him to come, you went to his house and pounced him like a common criminal, like a terrorist, and there is no explanation as to why this has to happen. So, this is not acceptable. Today, we are supposed to protect the whistleblower. We're supposed to protect the informant. Clearly, one can see, this is not a case where MACC had conducted investigation on their own accord. This is a case that started because of information given by Albert. They never showed the kind of urgency. For a year, Albert has been going on and on and on about the issue in Sabah, the Sabah scandal. But we didn't see any reaction. They dragged their feet. Finally, out of 14 persons that he has exposed, only 2 was charged, and that too together with Albert. What's the message? They're trying to discourage him. They're trying to discourage him by charging him. And out of that 14, had MACC taken action, you wouldn't have these people be returned as adun. There would be serious message that we will not tolerate corruption. But instead, the MACC dragged their feet and for some strange reason, they decided as a show of power that they would go to his house with guns blazing to arrest the whistleblower, the informant. There is nothing under the act that says that a whistleblower who is supposed to have been affected or tainted will not be given protection. There's nothing of that sort. It can withdraw protection, but it didn't say you cannot give protection. So don't misquote or misrepresent the law of whistleblower protection. Whistleblower protection can always be tainted, so-called tainted, or be part of the actual case. But if you want to withdraw the protection, you can use, but you have to give the protection first. In this case, there was no withdrawal of protection because they refused to give him protection in the first place. And having said that, forget about whistleblower. What about the protection of immunity to a prosecution witness? Nothing. So they tried to send a message that you speak about exposing, we will go guns blazing, we will arrest you under gunpoint, and then we will charge you. And they've also decided to teach a lesson that put the orange shirt, wear the handcuff, and drag them just during remand process. I'm sorry, this is not on. This is not on. During my time, I have actually specifically given directives that no one will be put in on orange shirts and handcuffed and to be paraded like a common criminal. That is not the way we fight corruption. That is politics. That is just a show. A real government that really wants to fight corruption, that they would actually deal with the informant, the whistleblower, in order to secure a proper prosecution. Not this way. This is not how it's done. Okay? I think by now you would know that Albert has been given bail, and he has been given the bail for 70,000 ringgit. And since his passport and the other condition of reporting has already been done in the previous case in Sabah, so there is no additional request as far as the syarat is concerned. So that's what has happened today.